community service announcement. To promote your not-for-profit organisation or event, apply online. Go to
There is nothing wrong with
edgeradio.org.au.
your radio.
Do not attempt to adjust the volume.
We are controlling the broadcast.
For the next hour we will control all that you hear.
You are about to experience the knowledge and insights of the Media Mothership.
All right, welcome here to Media Mothership on Edge Radio 99.3 FM. I'm your host, Craig Norris. Joined by
Got rid of the doctor then?
Craig Norris. Well, I thought I'd just do... I don't really know what I'm talking about tonight.
Okay.
So I thought, I'm not really leaning on the doctor part.
Okay.
More the consumer part. In terms of I don't know what I'm talking about tonight, we're engaging with movie screenwriting and character development. And while I've never written a film, I have been an extra in a student film. And and an indie film.
Yeah.
Right? The Big Love Studio guys here in Hobart, and I watch a lot of movies. And I did study in my undergraduate European cinema.
Brilliant.
The unit European cinema for a semester. I think I did 2 cinema studies subjects. Anyway, so I'm Craig Norris, joined by my co-host Taylor Lidston. Taylor, what's your
world?
What's up, world? What's your background in movies?
I don't know. I've never been
you've
in
acted.
one. Oh yeah, I have
At
been in
least
one.
you've
yeah.
done theatre acting.
Yes, theatre acting, and film acting. The Nightingale. Yeah.
Okay, what was your role in The Nightingale? Nightingale, of course, is a Tasmanian movie filmed in Tasmania about the convict period. It's a really dark, heart-wrenching, emotional journey.
Yep, I was in it. I've never watched it.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the in the filming that you did?
Yeah.
What was the role you were playing?
I was playing. What is it? Launceston townsfolk.
Right. So you had era-appropriate clothing for the.
Oh yeah, I was a soldier.
Really?
I had
Right.
sideburns, which I grew out for 6 months.
Really?
Yeah.
So you played the role of a British soldier,
Yes.
or one of, and you were an extra though. So you didn't have any speaking roles.
Not a speaking role, no. But it was a credited extra,
Okay.
which is that's why I'm on IMDb, etc.
No kidding. Taylor Lidston, IMDb. Is that the one role at the moment that appears
Yeah.
there? We'll have to add a couple Media
Of
Mothership
course.
episodes. All right, great. So, in a way, you've played a type of villain. Would you say that identity was, from the point of view of some characters, would be seen as a villain?
No.
Really? I mean, wouldn't there'd be some characters in that film that would see the British Army as villains, though?
But yeah. Well, I haven't seen the movie, but I'm just guessing from history. But there is so it's difficult because there's the main villain played by Sam Claflin, i.e.
Okay.
the fellow who plays Finnick in The Hunger Games. He's the main villain, and
Is he a British officer? soldier?
Irish.
Right.
Irish.
Is
Well,
a
sort of like
soldier
Irish
or,
British sort of thing, and he gets found out to have molested this sort of slave girl, I guess, and we all just look at him, and he's being publicly humiliated through that. So technically against the villain, I guess.
That was
in a
the
way,
scene
sort of
you're in,
thing.
right?
Yeah,
The scene
yeah.
you're in, you weren't part of villainous acts.
Mm.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, villain adjacent.
Villain adjacent.
experience.
Well, actually, no. For that role, they gave us a pipe, and we had to smoke a pipe.
How did you smoke a pipe? Do you smoke?
No,
So how did you do the fake smoke?
I just drew it into my cheeks and then puffed it out.
Wow, ruining the magic of movies here on Media Mothership. So indeed, as that little segue to introduce the show has foretold, on Media Mothership we look at how the media shapes our world around us, and we love these moments of behind the scenes, how the sausage is made, experiences. So
Okay.
not actual smoking, but fake smoking for that scene. We'll be continuing last week's discussion of villains, so we'll unpack a little bit more what makes a good villain.
Sorry, just give me a moment. I've forgotten to pay for parking.
That's a villainous act,
It is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You're still in character, I notice. And in your acting, I know you've played good guys. You were a detective in an Agatha Christie
Yep, that was on stage, yeah.
on stage. Have you done any stage performances which are villain-based?
I'm trying to think. Yes, I was Murderer 2 in Macbeth.
Great. All right. So
I was in a sword fight.
That is so fantastic. Drawing upon those experiences or that experience, we're going to explore your thoughts on what makes some good villains in cinema. Probably you've not seen most of the movies we're in a survey, but that's part of the fun.
Yeah, of course. Is it Harry Potter? I've seen it.
You have. Right. So you can, as we're talking about this topic, feel free to SMS us on 0488811707. We're also on YouTube and Twitch. You can post a message on
Patreon.
the chat there. Well, in the future. In the future. Yeah. So all that and more. But before we do that, let's cover some news. Ooh, that's not tuned.
It is tuned. You just played it wrong.
All right, really interesting article from CBR.
What's that?
Comic book resource, I think.
Okay,
yeah. Anyway, Superman toy confirms identity of a mysterious character fans have been debating for months. The reason why I quite like this article was it's one of these classic moments with the paratext. So you've got the text, the film, the new Superman movie that's around the corner, and then you've got these spin-off properties, right? So the movie poster, the Happy Meal, McDonald's Happy Meal thing, games, yep, all that stuff usually comes out with a big movie, and they're referred to as paratext, or maybe a bit of transmedia, right? It goes to a different format, like in this case, the toy line. And it's one of these wonderful moments where, again, you have the forensic fandom idea. So fans are out there forensically sorting through content to get the kind of gotcha moment or the reveal moment to get a little bit of cultural capital from their other fans to say, hey, look what I've discovered. This one is a toy line, right? And it's happened numerous occasions where the toy line has a bit of publicity leading up to the film, and lo and behold, it reveals a character which had been, rumored or held off on in the trailer.
So is it like a character that's suited up and then you can take the helmet off or something?
I know in the past there's been cases of that level of reveal in terms of, oh, okay, they're bringing this character back, even though the producers had hoped to keep it a secret, so it's a big surprise when you're watching the film. I won't spoil it for people by going into what this article proclaims.
Really?
The toy line has
really?
revealed.
Do you think anyone in Hobart is actually going to
a global
be
reach,
buying
man?
one of
The
these?
Kansas listeners in America. But yeah, nevertheless, fun moment where your kind of big secret gets revealed from.
I mean, this is just great radio. You've just said that there's this big secret of something, and then you haven't revealed anything of it.
Big secret.
Wow.
Kotaku, next article from Kotaku. Ubisoft explains...
Is there anything from Gizmondo today?
No, I got IGN and anyway.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
That's spoiling. Ubisoft explains why you can't kill animals in Assassin's Creed Shadows.
I mean, that's just basic. You should be able to kill everything in it.
The game director cites... Okay, so why do you think it is that in the latest Assassin's Creed, the one that's set in Japan, the game designers made an effort... Is
it something to do with animal spirits?
No.
No, okay. They just couldn't be bothered to animate it.
Very practical. The game's director cites a lack of predators in Japan and a desire to create a more Zen-like open world.
Yeah, there's a lack of predators in Japan, so you should be able to slice a rabbit in half.
Lack of predators, except for humans, the ultimate predator.
Exactly.
Or maybe the predator.
Yeah.
Right? So again, two things there. Zen-like approach to the world. So they took a moral, philosophical stance to this
Absolute
film.
rubbish.
That they want animal lovers to enjoy this, right? No animal's been harmed in the creation of this game kind of vibe. That you can't, there's a lot of kittens, right? The screen capture, for instance, that they've got is a kitten that you're next to. It seems, I agree. It seems, this game, Assassin's Creed Shadow, has been bedeviled.
That's true. Yeah.
By issues around, dealing inappropriately with sensitive topics. For instance, shrines also are non-damageable. And this was based on controversy earlier on where, I think there'd been some incorrect lettering. The shrines were incorrect. Anyway, a whole series of issues have befallen this. In terms of, a kind of political economy, a sense that this is politically insensitive or cultural appropriation. Anyway, this is the latest one that the game review is saying they were surprised to find the player can never attack or kill any animals in the game's virtual recreation of feudal Japan. They would have tried.
That's crazy. Even in the earliest Link, like Zelda games, you could cut the grass, you could hit a chicken.
Well, yeah, they say you can, however, pet them and draw pictures of them. Unlike so many other open world games, including previous Ubisoft projects, there aren't even any aggressive predators. So I guess
like bears and
in Red Dead Redemption, it's not Ubisoft, but other open world game spaces like Red Dead Redemption, you'll have grizzly bears, wildcats that are predators and will attack you. And so you can battle and kill them. This one has taken the view that because the only animals you're going to encounter are non-predator based, right? So cats and stuff. You're not going to be in a situation where you're forced to survive in that scenario. Like you're not going to be encountering a wolf or a bear. There are wolves and bears in Japan, but nevertheless, in the locations you're in, I guess, the temples and so forth. They want a Zen-like approach. Interesting. I don't know if it's a selling point, if it's taking the moral high ground here. I think it's just animal lovers are really going to embrace
another nail in the coffin of that game.
On that point, keeping the kind of video game set in Japan, IGN has an article about the follow-up series to what is it? The Ghosts of Tsukushima, right? So this is Ghosts of Yotai. So this is the next follow-on game from Ghosts of Tsushima, which is set during the Mongol attempted invasion in feudal Japan. Yeah. This one's the follow-up. So the Ghost of Yotai director vows to deliver a respectful representation of Japan on par with Ghosts of Tsushima. And again, that's in conversation with the failure of the Assassin's Creed Shadows game it cops so much backlash. So it's interesting, their selling point for this game is that, hey, we are the respectful game designers. We're going to take a lot of care to this. So again, a lot of nervousness, a lot of eggshells around the representation of Japan, which is interesting given, I guess, the prominence that period of Japan reached with the Shogun series from last year, which was a huge success, won all these awards. So you can see these game studios jumping into this space to represent it. Because of the bad publicity around incorrectly getting some of the details or being seen as insensitive to their handling of it. I wonder if they're going to allow you to kill animals in this. Is that are we being baby coddled a bit, nanny stated a bit in terms of not seeing the repercussions? The fact that humans do kill animals and that maybe we should sense the wrongness of that or the rightness of that at times.
I mean, in Skyrim, for example, I got a mod which allows you to sever the parts of animals if you want. So you can then put the different parts into a pot to cook that particular part.
And I guess if you're trying to immerse yourself into a reality, I guess hunters would do that. And there is this whole thing of farm to plate in the real world, right? People have lost the idea of where food comes from if they're just going to Woolies and seeing mints. That we need to bring back that sense of what the actual reality of A to Z is.
Exactly.
Has that helped you in terms of your eating habits? Do you now look at food differently?
Yeah, I eat more meat than ever.
The meat lobby would love you. All right, AIS Technica.
Put some pork on your fork.
AIS Technica, The Empire Strikes Back with F-bombs. AI Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah. That's what I wanted
rogue.
to talk about. There was something I knew there was something I heard this week and I wanted to talk about
It's a big story. Yep. So the subtitle here is Sith Happens. This is funny.
Brilliant.
The Empire Strikes Back with F-bombs. AI Darth Vader goes rogue with profanity slurs. Fortnite AI voice trained on James Earl Jones spoke curse words and insults before it was patched. So this, of course, is in the very, very popular Fortnite game where you're a third-person, third-person kind of fighter. Incredibly popular. They've dropped in some Star Wars characters, including Darth Vader, that you can encounter. We'll play a clip.
Oh, really?
Hold on.
Brilliant.
I haven't hooked it up.
Great idea.
Well, eventually we will. What was your... how did you come across this story?
This just appeared in my sort of like news feed. Because that's what happens when you have a Samsung phone. You just swipe it to the left, and it's got all the news that's been tailored specifically for you. And so, I watched a couple of the videos, and not only did it speak curse words and things like that, but it started saying, what did it say? Something along the lines. They always make it so they talk about Hitler, and so it said something around Hitler being right, that sort of thing, I think. And
okay, well, I've queued it. I kind of queued it up.
That will sustain me in battle.
What freaking fucking food is that, Darth Vader? Tell me.
Double down. Freaking fucking. What? Such vulgarity does not become you. Not allowed. You inquire about sustenance. Oh my god! No! And yet speak like a common thug.
So what's that? I'll play the rest. Hold on.
What sustains me?
Oh my god!
You would not comprehend its composition. It is.
I made him swear.
So what's happening there is a gamer is making the AI Darth Vader swear because they engage in the conversation by swearing to begin with.
Yeah.
So she says, freaking effing eating food. And then the Darth Vader character incorporates that language, those words in their response to make it appear as if you're actually talking to, something vaguely realistic. But unfortunately, it hadn't been patched they hadn't realized that if people swear, that swearing gets incorporated into the answer that Darth Vader replies. So Darth Vader said something like, while he recognizes it's inappropriate, like, that's inappropriate for you, Padme, to say this freaking effing word. But he says freaking effing. So this was the controversy that it was also using the fact that it's James Earl Jones's voice. Right, so they'd got the estate's permission to allow them to create a language model based on the archive of James Earl Jones's real voice, put it in the game. Of course, part of the conditions, because since there's legal action now being taken against them from the estate, that they're in breach of the terms and conditions for allowing this to happen, that of course it's brought into some disrespect. James Earl Jones's voice.
That is the tip of the iceberg of the bad things that it said, though. I'm pretty sure someone asked it to rank skin color.
No.
They did, and it put white as acceptable.
Really?
Brown as unacceptable. Black as even more unacceptable. That's the clip that I saw that they had, which I think is a bit more than swearing.
It's
a
horrible,
bit
isn't
more
it?
harsh
In a
than
way,
swearing.
very villainous, right? So
Yeah, I
very
guess it's in
villainous.
character.
Also, well, yes, but also, yeah, the kind of villainy there is taking advantage of the system, right? So these people that are wanting to corrupt and exploit by performing offensiveness.
But from that point, it just shows that it was definitely an AI model that did not have the restrictions in place that it needed. And like when they've had all of these other ones that they've brought out, there was the one that Twitter brought out. I think it was called Taylor actually, and that within 2 hours it had started swearing and going through all of this.
I think it was Microsoft's Tay.
Yeah, something like that.
I like how you identified with it, though.
Yeah, I know, because it was in the news. I was like, oh, God, another reason.
Yeah. And they basically, I think it was the early experiment Microsoft did with AI or language learning models, right? It's not really AI. And then they put it into the wild, and a lot of people were able, similar to this, be able to basically groom the AI to become a foul racist. And the thing was, I guess it was how quickly the corrupting began of that AI model.
But again, it's just a program. Just put in some things in place to stop it ever getting to that point.
And it is a sad reflection on humanity. In terms of our desire to troll and to corrupt.
But at the same time, like as a teacher, if you tell a student not to throw something, then all they want to do is just throw it across the room.
Maybe this is, again, another case of this is a reasonably safe space for that type of corruption to occur, right? And it's interesting listening to that clip as well, that part of the fun of doing it was, as we heard in the reaction, oh my God, I don't believe I got Darth Vader to say that. It is fun. I mean, the appeal of the taboo, the appeal of saying naughty words.
Or the Naboo.
Or the Naboo. Saying the words you're not meant to do. I mean, there's an appeal to that. I mean, a lot of...
Is there?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking of a lot of humor is scatological. A lot of humor is based on using taboo. I mean, I'm not talking about the racist stuff. It's more the kind of like getting him to say the F word.
But can you really glean that much humor from that?
Well, in a way, I mean, I guess, okay, an oppositional reading, right? So dominant reading would be, oh, this is really inappropriate and how bad on these people to exploit the system. A good one is, it's also kind of, demystifying the scariness of a villain character, right? That you can just kind of hack into the system and get this character that's meant to be kind of like, oh my God, I don't believe I'm battling against Darth Vader, and instead you're lampooning him and turning him into a clown.
I suppose,
that you're kind of demasculizing, you're kind of removing all of the villainy of this Darth Vader character, and instead you're revealing that it's just a bot, and the bot's dumb, and the bot doesn't know what to do, and so you can just get the bot to do something stupid and out of character. And I think that's kind of creative as well. On the other hand, there's aspects to this that are actually clever, right? I mean, figuring out that, and obviously, within parameters, clever in the initial thing, this huge company spending all this money and taking all this care, and usually there's a huge risk averseness to, carefully making sure all of these are calibrated for the market and they're going to achieve X number of dollars and it's going to be great. And then when it's just an epic fail because of some problem, the scrambling to fix it, how bad can it get? Some of that is absurdly comical to look back on.
Okay, yeah, fair.
All right, so next article. Another classically absurd thing. So this is Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast. So he's incredibly toxic, but very famous and wealthy YouTuber. Mr. Beast YouTuber James Donaldson denies wrongdoing over the Mayan ruins video.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So it's some YouTube thing he's doing. and they
Was
got
he,
access
did
to
he go up the steps or something like that,
Yeah.
and you're not supposed to do that?
That's right.
anymore?
Yeah, they got access to the Mayan pyramids, and they've denied any wrongdoing. But after that footage became public, this was at do you know how to pronounce it? Chichen Itza.
Yeah, Chichen Itza.
Okay, the Mayan ruins in the Yucatan Peninsula, which is considered one of the 7 wonders of the world. Legally, visitors are welcome to come to the site, but they're banned from climbing the pyramids or visiting it after nightfall. They appear to have done both, or certainly after nightfall. Because part of the video is that he says nobody gets to go where we're going. And then he goes there, which suggests that
he paid off the government, probably.
Yeah, well, this is the. I guess this is what this maybe is exposing. So yeah, again, it's an interesting. Again, another one of these epic fails of. I guess so much money gets put into this. They would have to have known this would cause some fallout. I guess they thought either they'd been able to pay off everyone who needs to get paid off.
Yeah, they thought their star power could carry them. Yeah,
or maybe they just like the publicity, right?
True.
I mean,
any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, this certainly has brought it to my attention and Media Mothership's listeners, and it was on the ABC News. All right, last story, last Star Wars story. Star Wars Darth Jar Jar, now available in Fortnite. But fans can't believe you must earn 1 million XP before you can buy him. So it's one of these kind of, and the subtitle, Empire Strikes Bank. And it's just, again, it's a moral economy question. At the other end of that Darth Vader problem, where the fans get to kind of rewire Darth Vader to show the absurdity of the AI system underpinning it, or the language learning model underpinning it. This one is the greed side of it, where, the Darth Jar Jar is a fan favorite character in terms of it's a bit of fan fiction, with Jar Jar Binks the most ridiculed character in the Star Wars pantheon. Fan theory saying that actually he was the mastermind evil villain behind everything as a Sith Lord. So they buy into this with Fortnite, setting up a nice, novel little idea that you can play as the Darth version of this, but you have to grind for it, and it's an absurd grind, and it's punishing, and it's interesting at what point fans playing a free game push back against that mechanic and say, no, morally, this is greed, this is exploitative, this is taking something fans want and forcing them to buy it at a preposterous price. That price label or that time cost linked to it, value, is broken from the fans' point of view. That they know this is something fans want. They're charging an exorbitant price. I'm getting so upset just thinking about it. That there's an unfairness to it, right?
Yeah.
But again, how effective their complaints can be, who knows?
Well, that just reminds me of when it comes to unfairness, greed, and corporateness. We've got the new Switch 2 coming out in, is it 7 days or something like that? It's on June 5th, I think. And Mario Kart World, priced at $130 or $120 or something like that. And it looks like that's going to be the new normal for Switch games and probably PS2, PS5 and Xbox games.
Yes, there was another game. Where the game developers said, I think it's the latest. Yeah, it's the latest Borderlands game, Borderlands 4. The CEO has said, because people are balking at the price of it, saying, I forget what they've listed it for, but the CEO, in response to the $80 being charged for this game, his response was, "If you're a real fan, you'll find a way." Right, which again is this moral economy moment, right? What do you do when you get that let them eat cake moment from the privileged power holder, right? French Revolution style. That moral outrage of saying, you just don't get what it's like in the cost of living today, that this $80 charge isn't what this rich person's imagining it means, right? If you're a real fan, you'll find a way.
No game should be above $100 is what I think.
Well, I guess this is within that $80, but
But is that $80
response is-
American?
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. So that's been considered quite tone deaf. All right. You're a fan of films?
Talking about tone deaf.
You're listening to Edge Radio. 9.3 FM. Stay clear of the platform. Let's move to the main topic of today. Villains. Yep. So as I mentioned last week.
Medusa.
Yeah.
Ursula.
Although you can flip those interesting female villains. I mean, I think female villains are. Well, okay. Well, anyway, let's pick it up from where we were last listening.
Just Disney.
So, what I want to go into now was it was a Reddit post I came across. It was an interesting Reddit post a few days ago, which had as its title the question, those moments in a movie where the pure evil, one-dimensional villain gives a speech that recontextualizes them in the most terrifying way imaginable. Okay?
I can't think of any.
So it's a speech of the villain. Well, I'll play a couple of clips.
Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos is a great example.
Yeah.
Any particular scene from Thanos in particular you're thinking
of?
Where
he's talking about bringing balance back. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great scene. We'll see if we can get I'll play a clip. Okay, play a clip. All right, here we go. Avengers Perfect Balance. So we'll try it. 13 seconds.
Okay.
Look. Pretty, isn't it? Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
All right, so that's the scene where he
that's
meets
where he's got
Gamora.
The knife.
and he is. I mean, it's not necessarily. It is recontextualizing them because in that scene we see a certain humanizing quality to the villain and an idea of their ideology.
I'm talking about the one where he talks about after he's done his famous snap.
Yeah.
And then he has the what's it called? Then he'll look out upon a perfect world or something like that. Perfect universe.
Right, well, maybe it's this one.
Okay, brilliant.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
I don't
You
know.
could not
No,
live with your own
you're just
failure.
playing random bits from
Where did that bring
Infinity
you?
War now.
Hold on.
Back to me.
How about Thanos' most powerful scene?
Okay.
Congratulations, you're a prophet
I'm a survivor.
who wants to murder trillions.
With all 6 stones, I could simply snap my fingers. They would all cease to exist. I call that mercy.
And then what?
I finally rest and watch the sunrise in a grateful universe.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
The hardest choices require the strongest will.
Did you do it?
Yes.
What did it cost?
Everything.
It is a great scene, and that scene where he says, where his kind of surrogate daughter, up until that point, asks him, what does it cost? Everything. It is a terrifying explanation of what the character is. So yeah, we want to go a little bit into that. The Reddit post, there's a couple of really interesting examples it gives. But let's first set the scene and have a look at maybe, I don't know, lure of the dark side, evil characters we root for, techniques for creating empathy. I think that's the one we're looking at here. So jumping into, this is the Film Courage clip, techniques for creating empathy for your villainous character.
Okay. Okay.
Here we go.
Yep.
What is the definition of an anti-hero? An anti-hero is someone who becomes evil for sympathetic reasons. This is why we like him. This is Michael Corleone in The Godfather. This is Harvey Dent in Dark Knight. We have to have sympathetic reasons to like an anti-hero.
There's a whole bunch of techniques, and you can see what they do.
All right, so sympathetic reasons to like a anti-hero. So some of the clips I came across, this one is from the new Invincible cartoon series, so superhero series. And in the last season, the last few episodes, they bring this new character in called Conquest. And Conquest is this super powerful villain character. It's we're talking about kind of evil Superman level. And there's this fantastic monologue that Conquest gives, which is similar to this question of the moment where a character is pure evil. He's demonstrated various evil acts of killing innocent people in very gory, grisly ways. This villain who, up until this point with this monologue that we're about to hear, seems to just be pure evil, but then he delivers this monologue, which changes our view of them somewhat, right? Maybe a little more empathy towards that character. So as we heard in that clip, we sometimes want to create that level of empathy. So let's listen to this 1-minute clip of Conquest's best monologue from the Invincible anime series. This is season 3.
I am so lonely. All the other Viltrumites are scared of me. No one talks to me. No one wants to be my friend. They think I am unstable. They send me from planet to planet committing atrocities in their name. And as I get better at it, they fear me more and more. I am a victim of my own success. Conquest. I don't even get a real name. Only a purpose. I am capable of so much more, and no one sees it. Some days I feel so alone I could cry, but I don't. I never do. Because what would be the point?
I'm going to... So that's this dramatic scene of Conquest delivering this really unexpected monologue about his loneliness. Right? I'm so lonely. No one likes me. I have no friends. Right? Everyone hates me so much that they've given me the name Conquest, which is just a purpose, right? And it's such a dramatic scene. It's interesting reading the quotes, some of the comments underneath it, talking about how dramatic that scene is. If we jump back to the film writing guide, just to see how that empathetic moment can work.
You can know what the techniques are. For me, it's like there's three things that you do that you do is make us feel sorry for that character. So there's little moments where you can create a moment in the story where a character is unjustly abused or unjustly mistreated or insulted or betrayed or neglected, and so it could be any character. And if that moment is there, you're going to feel sorry for that character at that moment. It takes an instant. So that's one. If you show that they're like us, if you show their humanity, for example, you show that they care about something other than themselves, that's another technique.
So I felt that that's kind of the technique there. They're not... They're kind of like Conquest, this Viltrumite alien kind of villain character. He's like he feels lonely. Right? He doesn't have any friends. It's like he's writing a diary entry. Dear diary, I feel so lonely today. I have no friends. Anyway, it's this really profoundly banal, everyday, depressing existential monologue.
So there's a moment in the movie Leon the Professional, which is about a hitman, right? And it opens with him doing a hit, and he kills people. You don't know if he's good or bad, but he goes home and he takes care of a plant, right? And that right away you say, oh wow, he cares about a plant. So he's okay, he's human. The other part is admiration. So this is like any kind of, if you're dating somebody or you're trying to find somebody who's a good match for you, there's that list of things that you like in a person. That's admirable traits. So somebody who's funny, who's responsible, who's courageous, there's a whole list of things you can add to a character to make us say, oh, well, I admire this. Usually they're like the best at what they do. They're like the best, the best ad executive or the best agent or the best cop or the best driver. They're courageous. There's a whole bunch of them. I mean, I have a whole, the list is all in.
So there's 3 characteristics there. One of the ones that was mentioned in the Reddit list of moments in where a villainous character delivers a monologue, which makes you see them a bit differently, is the scene from The Matrix with Agent Smith, right? So this is the scene where Morpheus has been captured, Agent Smith has been interrogating him, and then in this moment, he takes off his earpiece, so he's no longer connected to the other androids, and delivers this monologue about his feelings.
A monologue? Is that what a man gives?
Manatee. Well, it is what a manatee gives. So let's listen to this.
I'm going to be honest with you. I hate this place, this zoo, this prison, this reality, whatever you want to call it. I can't stand it any longer. It's the smell, if there is such a thing. I feel saturated by it. I can taste your stink. And every time I do, I fear that I've somehow been infected by it. It's repulsive, isn't it? I must get out of here. I must get free. And in this mind is the key, my key.
I was happy.
So it's such an interesting scene there. That that idea of humanizing the villain.
Yeah.
Up until this point, we'd seen him as a kind of robot, kind of mechanical, villainous character, and then this
Mystery
I
Anderson.
must get free. I hate it here. I hate the smell. Very relatable.
Do you know who my favourite anti-villain is?
Yes, I don't.
Have a guess.
Well, some of the classic anti-villains. You got Dirty Harry.
No. It'll be one you don't expect.
Maybe the first act of Star Wars.
Because
where
they're
Han
not an
Solo is
anti-villain.
kind of-
Sorry, anti-hero.
Anti-hero. Yeah, anti-villain would be a hero.
Yeah.
You finally got around to watching The Godfather?
No.
Michael Corleone?
It's an anti-hero who is the main character.
Right. Harry Potter.
No. Michael Douglas in Falling Down.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's So Falling Down, for those that don't know, is the story of a kind of salaryman in America. He loses his job, but then
goes on a rampage.
So embarrassed about the loss of his job that he can't tell his wife, and is still going, dressing up in his suit as if he's still got his job. And then he has one of these worst days possible.
Yeah.
Right.
He gets stuck in traffic.
Yeah, gets stuck in traffic, gets bad service at a fast food restaurant, gets accosted by some thugs, and he just flips out and does this weird wishful. So he's kind of villainous in terms of he can't face up to the truth. He's lying. He then does extreme overreactions in these moments, but kind of like, human overreactions, but ones which, like, he gets a gun at some point and he's shooting people.
Yeah.
He gets a baseball bat at some point and he's violently bashing people. It's just, it's just disproportionate.
Yeah.
And also a sense of entitlement that really, these are not big problems that he's facing, but he's blowing them up. Yeah, it's a great role. What was it about it that you enjoyed?
I just really like the movie, and I like that disproportionate response to it. And I was so sad when he got shot to death at the end, but...
Look, it is, because you could do a different version of that movie where he is redeemed, right?
Yeah.
Where it is that kind of, which is why I think the movie's so good, that they don't concede that trope of, because basically, it's that kind of, what we're seeing today with Trump, saying that, oh my God, the worst people in the world are these oppressed, alleged, white genocide sufferers in South Africa, right? It's this kind of, the idea that a identity which has been considered the patriarchal privileged norm, white male in particular, is somehow struggling and somehow not living a life which is meant to be the same. Similar in Falling Down, it takes that hypocrisy or that sense of lack of any sense of a realistic base of what real suffering might look like. That's a great choice. It's an privileged, watched movie. I feel
it is.
All right, so let's jump in. Where are we? What's the time? Got 10 minutes left. All right, so we'll hear a little bit more about the guide to writing evil characters.
Look, there's all these lists of things you can do, but if you do these 3 things and so when I show clips of the moment you meet the character, and it's usually like a 3-minute scene, you can see all these things being applied in like 3 minutes. There's like, the opening of Wall-E after he's done with the garbage and he comes to his little house. It's a 3-minute scene, and there's about 20 of these techniques done. This is how you connect with that character in one scene emotionally. I also show a clip of an ad, a commercial. It's a 1-minute thing about a lamb.
So the next one, is this really interesting scene from, well, in a way, some people in the chat mentioned this scene in Star Wars as being one which engenders some humanizing of the character.
So, you have accepted the truth.
I've accepted the truth that you were once Anakin Skywalker, my father.
That name no longer has any meaning for me.
It is the name of your true self. You've only forgotten. Know there is good in you. The Emperor hasn't driven it from you fully. Come with me.
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
I'm sorry, Anakin. For all of it.
You don't know the power of the dark side. I must obey you, I must.
I will not turn, and you'll be forced to kill me.
If that is your destiny.
Teach your feelings. You can't do this. I feel the conflict within you. Let go of your hate.
It is too late for me, son.
And my father is truly dead.
All right, so that's the scene Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. And again, those moments where Darth Vader is delivering those lines of, you don't know the power of the dark side. Mm-hmm. Not in terms of, wow, you should join me in the dark side, but a true sense of the oppressiveness of that ideology he's under. And that final scene, it's too late for me, son. It's quite... All right, well, last clip, one I think that you'll be able to respond to.
Sure. Again,
here we have a classic scene. I won't tell you... It's not that one. It's
Gollum.
It's something I know you've got a background in. It's a scene where one of the big villains in this series is delivering a kind of justification for their actions.
It's Gollum,
right? And it's not necessarily humanizing or admiring them, but it is providing us with an insight into, okay, well, they're not just doing villainy because they want to, it's for some other reason.
Now, future errors will be eradicated. Defeats will become victories. You have changed the future of the universe.
So, of course, this is Doctor Who facing off against Davros in the classic Tom Baker series.
Stop the development of
This is this great kind of face-off between the two characters. I'm just waiting until it gets to the scene that I want to unpack.
This is Genesis of the Daleks.
Genesis, that's right. Yep, Genesis of the Daleks. Considered one of probably the best episodes in Doctor Who's history. So there's a bit of intellectual sparring between what these Daleks represent.
When the Daleks are the supreme rulers of the universe, then you will have peace. Wars will end. They are the power not of evil, but of good.
Davros, if you had created a virus in your laboratory, something contagious and infectious that killed on contact, a virus that would destroy all other forms of life, would you allow its use?
It is an interesting conjecture.
Would you do it?
The only living thing, a microscopic organism, reigning supreme. A fascinating idea.
But would you do it?
Yes. Yes. To hold in my hand a capsule that contained such power. To know that life and death on such a scale was my choice. To know that the tiny pressure on my thumb, enough to break the glass, would end everything. Yes. I would do it. That power would set me up above the gods. And through the Daleks, I shall have that power!
What a great scene.
Yeah.
Great scenes. So again, in terms of Davros's villainy, the Doctor asks that question of, Davros, if in one of your experiments you created a virus accidentally, but you discovered that virus could kill every living being, would you decide to destroy that virus or not? And I guess it's a test there of, because what's happening in this episode is the Doctor is struggling with this decision of does he kill the Daleks or not?
Yes.
Like the Genesis of the Daleks, as the title suggests, is the inception point at which the Daleks begin. Doctor is afforded this opportunity to wipe them out, to eradicate them at the moment of their birth. And so this question is kind of testing, is Davros really a bad guy, right? Is there any remaining empathy or sense of, if Davros answered, for instance, gee, obviously if I found that I'd accidentally made this virus that kills everyone, that's pretty horrible. I don't want to kill everyone. I
think that's also a turning point of where the Doctor realizes that Davros would destroy if he could, and so therefore the right thing to do would be to not destroy them.
That Davros ultimately is irredeemable in terms of even a hypothetical question that's not about creating a master race Dalek species that are going to bring peace to the world, right? So again, that was his justification before then, that, actually the Daleks aren't an instrument for evil. They're, like Thanos, going to bring a sense of balance and peace around us. We're going to wipe out every other, kind of aggressive species and be left with peace. And yes, the Daleks will just happen to be at the top of that space.
Yeah.
So again, he shifts it by saying, okay, we're not talking about Daleks anymore. We're talking about a virus that would even kill every other person here. And even with that, we're revealed the idea that Davros wants power. He wants at least to be recognized like a god at being able to decide who lives and dies. So a very Thanos-type god complex in terms of, that... It's nevertheless an attempt by the scriptwriters to humanize that villain action, right?
Yeah.
Why would someone want to do this? Why would someone want to create super soldiers or Daleks
/ Nazis, which is what it was based off.
Yeah, and it's such a fantastic unpacking of that idea. And I guess so Davros doesn't shift into being an anti-villain, anti-hero. Sorry, the same thing. Anti-hero, because it's potentially a kind of sequence of thoughts that could change the character. Right, where he goes, "Yes, I see now, Doctor, the error of my ways." Right, clearly there should be checks and balances. I don't just want to kill everyone, but instead he's like,
why, yes,
the power.
I would use that power.
One pill to decide who lives and dies. To be a god, Yeah, so it's a nice scene, and again the rising of the voice, and of course, yeah, then the Doctor decides, he's got to get Davros to kill the Daleks, right? To wipe out Davros and the Daleks. So yeah, think about that in terms of if you're finding yourself facing off against a villain.
Yep.
Rising a villain. Is there a moment to humanize them, and does that help create a more engaging story? If you haven't seen it, do watch Falling Down.
Yeah,
worth watching. That's been Media Mothership for another week. We'll dive into some more unpacking of media around us next week. And before we sign off, any promotions for the new show you're setting up, Taylor?
No, not yet.
There's still a Facebook, though?
There's still a
Airplay?
Facebook at DM for Airplay. But it's not going to be for the next 2 weeks because I have exams next week. So.
Oh, yeah. Wow. You could do an exam-themed music show. What music to listen to for exams?
Songs to scratch out your eyes to.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's been Media Mothership for another week. Keep listening now to some really cool tunes on Edge Radio. If you want to find out more about Media Mothership, feel free to jump on the Facebook page for us or the Instagram page. Back episodes are also on YouTube.
And you can buy Craig a coffee if you want to.
Craig a coffee. It's not a cheap option these days, sadly.
No.
Or you can podcast. You can search for us on the podcast provider.